In the golden heart of Manhattan stood Etoile Blanche, an elite bridal boutique known for dressing heiresses, celebrities, and royalty. Inside its marble-clad walls, gowns shimmered like dreams, each priced more than most people's annual salary. On a rainy Tuesday afternoon, the boutique's crystal doors opened, and in walked a woman whose presence stirred only glances of disapproval. Her name was Naomi Ellis. She wore no makeup, just chapstick. Her hair was in a simple bun, her clothes thrifted and comfortable. A plain gray coat hugged her slim figure, damp at the edges from the rain. She walked in with quiet confidence, but the women behind the white lacquered counter didn't see confidence. They saw someone out of place. "Excuse me," Naomi said softly, walking up to the front desk. "I have an appointment." The boutique assistant, a blonde woman with a tight smile and an even tighter bun, barely looked up. "This is Etoile Blanche, sweetheart. Are you sure you're in the right place?" "I am," Naomi said. "I emailed and called last week." Another assistant chimed in, barely hiding her smirk. "These dresses start at $20,000. We don't do rentals and we don't offer financing. Maybe check the outlet store on 5th. Naomi paused. Not because she was ashamed, but because she'd been here before. Not in this store, but in this feeling. Born in a forgotten corner of Detroit, Naomi Ellis was raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs and still managed to smile at the end of the day. They didn't have much, but they had grit. Naomi worked her way through community college, cleaned offices by night, and eventually landed a scholarship to Columbia University. It was there, at a sustainability tech conference, that she met Julian Rothschild, young, charming, and unknowingly the heir to the Rothschild energy empire. But Julian wasn't like the others. He wasn't flashy. He wore scuffed sneakers and loved late-night ramen. He was captivated by Naomi, not because she came from money, but because she didn't. Because she saw the world differently. They debated everything from climate ethics to Star Wars lore. And when Julian's private car broke down, it was Naomi who taught him how to use the subway. They dated quietly for 3 years, away from cameras and red carpets. And when Julian proposed, on a mountain hike in Iceland, he gave her a simple sapphire ring passed down by his grandmother. "Naomi," he said, "I've been around women who wanted my last name for status. You're the first who ever made me want to deserve it." Still standing at the counter, Naomi gave a soft sigh and reached into her coat pocket. She handed over a velvet envelope, embossed in gold. The assistant opened it reluctantly, and her eyes widened. It was a platinum invitation, engraved in real gold leaf. "You are cordially invited to the wedding of Julian Rothschild and Naomi Ellis." The invitation was everywhere, in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and People magazine. It was set to be the wedding of the year, a union of old money and new vision, featuring a guest list that included diplomats, Hollywood A-listers, and royalty. The assistant's face turned crimson. "I'm so sorry," she stammered. "We had no idea." "I know," Naomi replied coolly, her voice calm but cutting. "That's the thing. You never do." Suddenly, the boutique's manager rushed out, nearly tripping over herself. She apologized profusely, offered champagne, private rooms, exclusive designs, anything. But Naomi was already walking out the door. The boutique manager, Vivian Clark, was livid once the truth came to light. Known for her obsession with prestige and perfection, she had built Etoile Blanche on reputation. But reputation was crumbling fast under the weight of her employees' arrogance. The moment Naomi left, Vivian turned sharply to her staff, her voice low but seething. "Do you realize what you've done?" she hissed. "You insulted the bride of the century in our store." She called an emergency staff meeting, where she publicly reprimanded the 2 assistants responsible. One was demoted to backroom inventory, the other placed on probation. Vivian made it crystal clear. From that day forward, judging clients by appearance would not be tolerated. She even brought in diversity and empathy training, trying to salvage the boutique's image. But behind the scenes she knew the stain of that moment might never wash out. ChatGPT said. Shaken but not defeated, Naomi took a breath outside the boutique and hailed a cab across town. She had researched backup options just in case. That's how she ended up at Lumiere Bridal Studio, a newer boutique known for its inclusive approach and rising reputation among forward-thinking brides. The space was warm, not sterile. Soft jazz played in the background, and the air smelled faintly of lavender and optimism. As she stepped inside, a tall, stylish woman with rich mahogany skin and box braids greeted her with a genuine smile. Her name was Marina, the lead bridal consultant. "Welcome to Lumiere," Marina said warmly. "You must be Naomi. I'm so glad you're here." Naomi blinked, a little stunned by the contrast. "You read my name off the schedule?" she asked. "No," Marina smiled. "I read the engagement story in Vogue. You're the woman who said, 'I don't need a fairy tale, I'm writing my own.'" Naomi's guard melted just a little. For the first time that day she felt seen, not for her clothes or her background but for her spirit. Marina didn't ask about budgets or make assumptions. She brought out dresses that reflected Naomi's taste and personality, simple elegance, timeless design, ethical fabrics. She listened. She laughed with her. And when Naomi stepped out of the fitting room in a clean, understated gown with a cascading train, Marina's eyes lit up. "That's the one," she whispered. "That's the woman the world's about to fall in love with." And in that moment, Naomi did what she hadn't done all day. She smiled back with full, unguarded joy. Because here in this boutique with heart and soul, she was not just a bride. She was valued. And that made all the difference. Held on the Amalfi Coast, Naomi's wedding was a breathtaking display of elegance and intimacy. Her dress, custom-made by a designer friend she met in college, was minimalist, stunning, and handcrafted with biodegradable silk. The photos graced every top magazine. And the world fell in love with the woman who had once been underestimated, judged, and humiliated. Back in Manhattan, the boutique workers watched the wedding coverage on a breakroom TV. Naomi Ellis, the woman they had scorned, was radiant in front of the world. And beside her stood Julian, beaming with pride. The boutique later released a statement of apology, which Naomi never responded to. She didn't need to. Her silence said everything. Teeny to raise her voice. She didn't need revenge or dramatics. Her power was in her grace, her silence, and the undeniable truth of who she was. Because in a world quick to judge by appearance, she reminded everyone that class isn't worn, it's lived. And as her wedding photos lit up every screen and magazine, the very people who looked down on her were forced to look up, in awe, in shame, in silence. Speech balloon: have you ever been underestimated because of how you looked or where you came from? Share your story in the comments below. We want to hear from you. If this story inspired you, like the video and hit that subscribe button for more powerful tales of dignity, triumph, and poetic justice. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next story that challenges the way we see the world. Because every judgment has a backstory, and every underdog has a crown.